All right. Good morning, everybody. Yes, you can't hear me because we're virtual, but I just like saying good morning anyway. Anna, are you there?
I'm here, Brendan.
Wonderful. So thank you for joining us for this week's live stream, Embrace the Suck. So my name is Brendan Bartik. I own the Bartik Group at Keller Williams Real Estate. I also have the Keller Williams Integrity Market Center, which we have an amazing team there. And then I have a company, which is Brendan Bartik Real Estate Coaching, where our mission is to train the most elite agents and coaches on earth. So today, I'm going to introduce Anna, and she's going to talk about some things on how to make this webinar the best and most interactive that it can be. So Anna, if you'd like to explain what everybody needs to do, I'd appreciate it.
Great, thanks. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad you guys were able to join us. We've got a lot of wonderful content that we are excited to share with you. So just a couple of quick tips on how to make this class the best. Number one, just as a reminder, be sure to mute yourself unless you're popping into the conversation with a question. If you do have questions and you're a little unsure of how to unmute yourself, go ahead and pop those questions in the chat box. And my colleague Kylie and I will be sure to answer all the questions you may have. If you like what you hear, you like what you see, be sure to provide us a reaction, whether that's a nonverbal in the actual box for the video, or maybe it's a thumbs up with the reactions down in the bottom ribbon. We'll also send out a course survey after this. So if you have insight, feedback, or other information that would be helpful in us making this presentation better in the future, feel free to fill that out afterwards. Other than that, I'm here every step of the way, so if you need anything, feel free to reach out. Other than that, let's have a great class.
Great, thank you so much, Anna. So I have been selling real estate now for about 18 years. I started out as a assistant to a top producer, did that for a year, then got my license, became an agent on her team for about a year, then started out on my own as an individual agent, and then started a team along the way. So I've been at almost every kind of position you could have throughout the process. And then in addition to that, I became an owner. So of a brokerage that has about 200 agents. And so I've seen a lot in the industry. I should be a good resource for any questions. At the highlight of my personal career, I was selling about 130 homes individually myself every year for about 10 years. So I've been in the streets, I've been out there, I've been on the appointments, I've been in my first office was literally a broom closet. They didn't have any more space at the Coldwell Banker office I was at. So they cleared out all of literally the brooms and the little mopping thing. And I set up shop in there, soundproofed it, and went to work on hitting the phones. So I'm going to talk about some things that helped me get to where I am. I'm going to talk about some strategies that I learned that'll hopefully save you a lot of time, and we'll jump into it. So I'm going to get into the presentation here. And Anna, can you see that?
Yep, it looks great.
Wonderful. And first of all, I'd love to thank our beautiful presenter, Kylie Phelan, for making this amazing presentation. She's also on here. She does all of this work behind the scenes and makes everything beautiful. So Kylie, we appreciate you. Couldn't do it without you. All right. So let's talk a little bit about embrace the suck. Right now, you can kind of see some of the career stats, things that I've done. Not saying that to impress you, just trying to say to impress upon you that I've been there. I know the struggle. I can tell you some things that are going to help you, get to where you want to go and hopefully make your life a lot easier. So let's make sure that this works. All right. So embrace the suck. Anna, would you mind reading that for me?
Yes, embrace the suck is a military slang verb to consciously accept or appreciate something that is extremely unpleasant, but unavoidable for forward progression.
Yeah, so for forward progression and, again, so we're embracing the things that we know we don't necessarily want to do, but we know that are going to give us massive success. And how do we work our mindset into that universe so that we're totally okay with that and we get to be comfortable, and eventually the hard things become just a normal everyday occurrence. So we're going to jump in and I'm going to take you through some of those concepts and ideas. Now, with everything as we move forward, it always comes down to, oh, my little clicker's not working, starting off your morning with the right mindset. Okay. So if you're looking at the slides or if you're just listening in, we start every day with what we call the miracle morning. And the miracle morning was a game changer for me personally because it gave me the ability to not only add additional time to the day that I could have more time to focus on bigger projects, but it also got my mindset wrapped around what I needed to, who I needed to be, and what I needed to do to accomplish those activities. So with the lifesavers, you always start every morning, and the first part about it is starting early, right? So the schedule starts at 4:30 a.m. and people go, "Oh my gosh, that is not for me. You can take your 4:30 a.m. and keep it." Or I've got kids, or I've got this, or I've got that. I've heard 1,000 people tell me different reasons on why it's impossible to get up a little bit earlier. And I'm not saying you need to be at 4:30. Maybe it's, you get up at 7 now and you need to be at 5:30. And embracing the suck is about those things that just go, look, after you make it a habit, it doesn't suck anymore. And in fact, it becomes a way of life that's going to help you accomplish whatever you want and have those big whys that are going to get you to where you want to go, and have those vacations and have that lifestyle and have the freedom. I got into real estate because I made a decision early on. I worked for Ritz-Carlton hotel companies, and I made a decision that I never wanted to work for anybody else ever again. And that was my big driver for my early part of my career, is I got so sick of having to have somebody else tell me what to do. Well, then you get into real estate and you go, I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do because no one's telling me what to do. And then we kind of sometimes have some issues there. So this gets your mindset wrapped around what's important. So the lifesavers, so silence. So every morning at 4:30, and I can just give you an example. I get up, I have meditation. So I have guided meditation. I use the Calm app. I couldn't meditate on my own without guided. So there's all kind of different apps out there. I do 10 minutes of guided meditation, different subjects every day. Then affirmations, I literally take my phone, put my phone on a timer for 5 minutes, and I go through a list of affirmations for the day. So that could be, hey, I'm going to take my next listing appointment today. The first call I make is going to love me. My deal at 110th Avenue is going to close today without issue. We're going to hit loan objection deadline. Whatever I need to will into the universe is what I'm telling my brain every single morning to make sure that I'm manifesting what I want. And I used to think this was cheesy and I thought it had no purpose and all that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of research out there. It works. It just works. So affirmations, then the timer resets. I hit it for another 5 minutes and I sit there and I have a little area in my living room that's like my meditation area. And then I go into visualization. So I visualize myself for what I want to accomplish, not only that day, but that week, that month, that year. And I visualize myself, on the lifestyle that I want and all that. Again, I thought it was super cheesy. It works. We're just training our brain. Okay. Then exercise. Now you could do this for 20 minutes. That's probably the minimum that you're going to want. But shoot, even if you start with 10 because you're not doing anything and you go, look, I'm going to do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, or I'm going to do 20 minutes of jogging or 10 minutes of this, whatever it is, just to wake the body up. And then reading. So we have to learn every morning. So whatever book it is, if it's a chapter, 2 chapters every single morning, again, I still limit that to 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that I'm getting that in. And then I also, with the reading, I just turn on an Audible book when I'm in the gym or in the shower and kind of try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone there. And then the last thing is scribing, which is a funny word that just basically means journaling. This was the last one that I implemented, and it took me a while because I thought it was by far, something I would never do in my entire life. And what I realized with the journaling is that it really brought out what I had. It was like a brain dump. I could get everything out of my head into a page or 2 during that time frame. And then again, felt like I at least downloaded it and it gave me clarity. So the lifesavers, if you haven't read the book, check out The Miracle Morning. It's just, I can't tell you what a game changer is. But that's the first part of embracing the suck, is embracing the suckiness of getting up early. right? Until it's no longer sucky. So that is that. Now, what you're seeing here is a top producer's schedule, okay? This is the exact schedule that is designed for you to sell 100 plus homes a year every year. And in fact, sell a lot more than that once you start to scale, like how we sold 300 last year. So you can see Monday through or Sunday through Saturday. Now, some people go, Brennan, I'm not working 7 days a week. I get it. I understand. And that's your choice, right? In the beginning, I always try to make the understanding of if you were starting out a brand new restaurant or a brand new store or a brand new business, it's going to take some time and some serious hours if you want to really have a successful one. And I think the problem with some of us that transition into this business is we get into this and we say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this kind of lifestyle and all that. And then people go, Brennan, you don't understand. I have these commitments. I have those commitments. This schedule is just a blueprint for you to work in your commitments. If you have to take your kids to a daycare every morning at 8:30, and there's no way around that on earth, and you enjoy it, and that's the thing, then you've got to put that into this schedule and figure out how you're going to work that into the process. And then where does that change? Does that mean that your prospecting time or lead generation time starts at a different time and goes a little bit later? Possibly. Does that happen? But we know what I want to make a clear point on is that where people get very, very off the scale is they start trying to chunk this up. And I coach a lot of people and I see them show me their schedule. And it literally looks like I mean, it's insane. There's chunks and boxes and squares and everything everywhere that makes no sense to me whatsoever. So with that, we need to make sure that it's consistent. So one of the other parts about embracing the suck is you never, ever, for the rest of your real estate life, schedule an appointment before 12 o'clock. Ever. If that's the one thing you take away from today and you really solely go, man, if I really want to have great success in this industry, the biggest thing I need to do is take that piece, that inspections, dentist appointment, whatever it is on earth, unless of course it's, your son's graduation or something, that's very important. We understand that. But every day you don't schedule that. I see agents all the time that go through this up and down because they're scheduling all these interesting things because they don't want to do lead generation in the morning, right? So you've got 4:30 a.m. Until 6:30 miracle morning. 6:30 to 7:30, you're getting ready for your day. 7:30 till 11 o'clock, till 10:45, you're doing lead generation. And I'm going to talk about that. That doesn't mean cold calling. That doesn't mean, it might mean cold calling for some of you, depending on where you're at in your businesses. It might mean a number of things, which I'm going to give examples here in a second of. Then 10:45 to 11, you're going to take a break. We're going to talk about that, 11 a.m. So I'm going to take you through the entire schedule, and then you'll see some different blocks in there that are set up for some different things. But at the end of the day, I know that 80% of agents don't even use a calendar. Don't even use a calendar. How are you supposed to be efficient if you're not even utilizing any sort of calendar to track what you're doing, right? Or to know what's coming next? It's just not possible. So think about that. Think about your calendar. Make sure you're dead on it. All right. So right now, that's a top producer's calendar to a T. All right. Let's go. All right. So here's what a daily schedule looks like, right? This is a highly efficient top producer schedule. And you'll notice on there, 7:30 to 7:45, review scripts, role play, review goals, and recite affirmations out loud. Now, you already did your affirmations in your head, but now you're about to get into your lead generation. So people ask me all the time, well, what's an affirmation before I get into lead generation? Those are pretty simple ones. It's the next call is going to be my next appointment. The next call is going to be my next appointment. Every no leads closer to a yes. And you're just getting your brain psyched up for this mental battle that you're about to go into. And it is a mental battle. And make sure that you're aware of that and you're focused on it. Then you have your lead generation. Now, your lead generation might look different than some others, and we're going to talk about that. And then you break down the schedule. So that's a top producer schedule. And Anna, we do have this available, I believe, on the Facebook page, if anybody wants to print that out and have that.
Yep, absolutely. It'll be available on Facebook, and then we'll also email it out to everyone after this.
Perfect. I had this taped up, and I still have it taped up in my office, workstation, wherever you're working from, every single day to just remind me, hey, this is what the best of the best are doing. I can do this, right? I can definitely do this, right? So then you're reviewing scripts. So this, again, this is just an expired one. Not everybody's got to call expireds. I just put that one on there as an example. So you have expireds, maybe you're calling your center of influence. You're reviewing what you're going to be doing so you can kind of, again, if you were playing baseball, you're going to take some warm-ups. You're going to take some practice swings. It's the same thing in our business if you're playing at a high level. Take some practice swings, right? You see actors all the time. They're like, la, 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 right? They're getting their voice ready to do whatever it is to get ready, thank you, for ready to perform, right? And they're looking in the mirror and they're getting their facial stuff all right. The serious people take this seriously. Everyone else just goes and goes, all right, I guess I'm going to call my database today. All right, well, first of all, who am I going to call? All right, well, let me grab my phone. You know what? I haven't talked to Susie in a while. Let me give her a call, see what old Susie's up to. And normally, we're going to do the opposite of embracing the suck. We're going to call the people that we know are already going to do business with us. And we go, well, man, I got that done. We already knew that Susie was going to do business with you. Why the heck waste your time calling Susie? I mean, you still need to call Susie once in a while, but you don't need to talk to Susie 3 times a week. You do it because it's better than doing outbound lead generation, which is going to fill your database, which is going to fill the stomachs of your children and give them a dinner so they can eat, right? That's what we need to be focused on. So review your script. There's a script for every type of calling scenario you're going to do, from calling affiliated business partners to calling. We have an entire script book that has every single person you could possibly call, and make sure that the call comes from a place of value and that it's worth it to them for you making that conversation. All right. The biggest one that I see people miss of embracing the suck is role play, right? I really truly believe that this is the foundational principle that helped me build a successful career. People know that I talk about it all the time in my team, at the office. If you're going to be very good at this, you need to have amazing conversations. And the only way to get really good at that is to practice those conversations. So 7:30 to 7:45, you're practicing the script. Now, you can have role play partners across the country. At one point, I had, I think, 5 or 6 across the entire nation. One was even in Canada, that I would practice these scenarios with and just go, okay, when I get here and this happens, what happens here? And does that make me sound like a douchebag? And does this sound like this? And just making sure that I wanted to do, people look at scripts and they go, well, that makes me inauthentic. I looked at a script and said, that makes me bring better value to the person I'm calling, because I'm actually practicing what I want to make the call for, which we all know the reason you're calling. You're not calling to not try to get business. We all know that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in a sales business. And you got to get that in your head as well, is you're in the business of selling real estate, which makes that word sell makes you a salesperson. And in order to sell, you have to make phone calls and talk to human beings about buying or selling real estate, right? So get into your head that that's part of your role. The better you are at it, the more money and more success you're going to have. So role play, 7:30 to 7:45. The next thing you're going to do is review your goals, right? So this is a goal sheet that we have that everyone in our organization follows, which is broken down into simple categories: mets and haven't mets, okay? Then our 5 commitments, and then my big why, right? So my big why, yours could be very different. That's not what it has to be. You would fill in your big why there. Your big why might be send my 3 kids to college. It might be to buy 6 poodles. It might be to, one of my people I work with, his was to buy a restaurant truck. What are those things? A food truck. I couldn't even think of the name. He wanted to make enough money in real estate to buy a food truck. Cool. That's cool. Hey, that's your big why. Knock it out. Let's go get it. Then below that, the bottom very half of this, you see the 5 commitments that you need to make every single month to obtain those goals, right? So you've got volume, closing, signed, appointments held, and contacts or conversations about buying or selling real estate. We know that these ratios break down into those simple numbers. And then above, it's simple where you have Mets and haven't Mets, right? I know I need to have 500 people in my Met database to net $1 million. And I need to have 4,000 people in my haven't met, meaning my targeted group. Now, I teach a whole nother class on this that goes into this in extreme detail called Market Your Way to Millions, that breaks down the 500 and the 4,000 and the ratios and all that fun stuff. But just take my word for it. You need 500 people that know you, love you, and would recommend you, that you have on a 33 touch program, meaning you're marketing to them on a regular basis, and you'll net $1 million. That's it. That's the simple system. So it works. I've coached people for a long time to see that it works on every business. People go, well, my business is very unique, or my business is built by this way, or my business is very different than your business. Doesn't matter. I've had people that have run businesses strictly by referral that do it this way. I've had people that run businesses strictly by phone calls that do it this way. It works. So we'll teach that in another section, but you got to have your goals up. If you don't use this sheet, you need to have your targets written down of what you're trying to accomplish in whatever format that might be. This happened to be the most simple one we could come up with. Okay. All right. Now you're still in your morning, right? You're like, man, this is still only 7:30 in the morning. I'm going to do my daily affirmations. So here's some affirmations that I think are extremely powerful. You could have these printed out, taped next to your workstation or whatever it is. Everybody, this is a mindset game. You've got to be so mentally prepared and so ready to keep that positive energy level, because the day before you had a deal fall apart, which you've already called 20 of us and told us about, because you know, that's what realtors do. You've had something, you know, your kid spilled something on your computer, your dog ate this or chewed that. If we don't get into the right mind space before we do this, then it just makes the day a lot harder. The delivery of what you're providing to your clients is not going to be as enjoyable, and you're not going to enjoy it. So we're just brainwashing ourselves. An affirmation is just brainwashing your brain to do what it needs to do. Okay. So I achieve my goals. I'll help others become successful. Find out which ones work for you and literally yell them out loud. Say them out loud. Say them in a mirror, right? Whatever you need to do. I know it sounds cheesy. Believe me, if you knew me personally, I am not a cheesy type of guy. I thought that all of this was, you know, Buddha, Hindu, whatever. It works. Take my word for it. Start doing it. Call me in a year. Thank me. Take me to dinner. Believe me, it works. Okay. All right. Speaking of mindset, right? Now we went from super Hindu-y to a gun to somebody's head, right? This is the thing I think about all the time. And this is how serious I take my business is I go, look, if somebody had a gun to a family member's head that I love, and I had until 5 o'clock today to set one appointment, what would I have to do to save their life? What would I have to do to make sure that that day was that serious to me that I'm going to have to protect my wife from somebody shooting her? And I know that seems extreme, but this is extreme. There are lives on you know, at stake here. Your life is at stake. Your kid's life, the quality of life. Life is at stake. What would I have to do to save them by 5 o'clock? You can use the analogy of a bomb exploding. You can use whatever. I don't think as professionals, we take this seriously enough. And therefore the lackadaisical approach sometimes that we take to just I'm going through my day, right? Put that pressure on yourself. Put that expectation on yourself. Save somebody's life by the end of the day. Save your own life, your financial life by the end of the day, and kind of think about that image. What would I do if somebody had a gun to my family member's head and I had to save their life? All right. Now, the tools you're going to need. Now that you know you have to be a hero by the end of the day, what am I going to need to do this at a high, extremely high level? So there's a list of all the things here. Now, some of these are paid things that you're going to need. So dialing systems, Coles directory to search phone numbers, scripts and objection handlers, a headset. Guys, I still see people holding the phone to their ear for 3 hours a day, and it just drives me insane. Get some AirPods, get a headset, get a professional noise canceling headset if you're going to be doing this at a high level. Okay. In our new, in our new COVID situation that hopefully won't be lasting much longer, you're going to need a webcam. You're going to need a microphone. You're going to need some professional tools to make you be able to do this at a high level. Now, CRM, you live and die. Let me say this again, live and die by your CRM, right? So whether that's Command, Boomtown, Real Geeks, whatever it is that you're doing, that is your livelihood. That is your bank account. You're putting people into your database system. You're going to create it sophisticated enough where it's going to nurture those people and make sure that they're going to spit out deals when they come out of it. If you're not having if you don't think yours is at the highest level, go back and start over. Go back and start. Get out of the Excel spreadsheet. Get out of, I hear people using, these weird things I've never even heard of before. Pay a little money or don't pay any money. If you're at Keller, Command is free, but if you're paying for Boomtown because it's the best system, that you can probably get for the money, or Real Geeks, some of these high, more expensive ones, and that you're going to be doing, massive amounts of lead generation, you've got to have a system that works for you. Okay. Altos market reports. We use these. The Altos market reports are the market reports we use for all of our comparative market analysis. They also send out to our clients on a weekly, monthly basis. I just got an email literally yesterday from a past client that continues to get my monthly market reports, who said, hey, our daughter Dana is looking to buy in August. Brendan, she's graduating college here at DU. Do you still think August is a good time? That does the work for me. It just sits there and sends them data all the time in a sophisticated format. Now, you can use HomeBot. You can use the market reports you get for free from a title company. You can use in a HomeSnap, or a MarketSnap, which is a Keller product. Whatever it is, you need to just make sure that they're on a residual email so that they're staying in front of them. It's a default thing. That doesn't mean you still don't have to call them. It's just another default catch-all. So then we're going to need a mirror because we've got to keep our energy up. We've got to make sure that we are on stage because we should be delivering that kind of quality to our clients. You obviously need to have Zoom right now. So you have your Zoom account. You have a background that doesn't look like you live in a dump truck. You are a professional. You actually put on, makeup today or clothes or pants, and you're ready to rock and roll. Then digital brochure. So digital brochure is technology that you're going to want to use to present information to your clients in a sexy format so they think that you're a professional instead of just sending them a PDF. The company we use is called Issuu, ISUU, I believe. You can get it for free, but when you do the free version, there's paid advertisements on the side. I think it's $14 a month or $12 a month for the one that makes it look perfect. I'm sure there's 1,000 other companies that do the same thing. That's just the one that we use for certain reasons. So cool. And then the big thing that I think I want to talk about is having handwritten note cards sitting on your desk. And if your goal, or not even your goal, it should be your goal, is to send out 5 a day, right? I'm going to do 5 handwritten note cards every single day, period, end of story, minimum 5 days a week, either to my database, past clients, center of influence, new contacts that I make today with a business card, if you're going to put a business card in it. And remember, the higher quality of that note card, the higher representation of who you are, right? So I looked at it and I said, okay, before I used to have real cheap cards and you write on it real quick and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, that's when they get that, are they going to think that I'm the highest level of professional? So the more money you spend on the front side for quality, nice textured note cards that have great envelopes, embossed, all of that stuff, I promise you it'll make a difference. And that's going to be something that's going to help you stand out versus your competition. Okay. All right. And then no distractions. Probably by far the hardest thing for all of us. For right now, you're sitting there, your dog's barking, a kid's jumping. You probably have a kid under your desk right now. Who knows what you're doing behind the scenes? I get it. I understand. I know it's a nightmare. You know, we're all living in close quarters. My wife wants to kill me. I know that, right? Because we're in these tight spaces and I'm yelling at her all the time. Hey, I'm trying to do a webinar. And she's screaming at me. And, you know, it is what it is. But you got to make it work. You got to find 1-2 hours a day where you can just dial in and try to figure out, hey, who can help me make sure that I get this sacred time to do what I need to do? Okay. So no distractions. All right. The next thing for our mindset of embracing the suck is, do you know how much you get paid for every conversation you have about real estate, right? So this goes back to how valuable is your time. And one of the biggest motivators, if you want to fall in love with lead generating or prospecting or whatever it is, you have to trick your mind into understanding why you're doing it. And there's a simple tool for that, and that's called tracking your numbers, right? So if I know, and I have this sheet that you're looking at right here on my desktop, on my actual desk, printed out every single day, and I'm tracking the activities that I'm doing, at the end of a quarter or a month, very early on, I'm going to be able to start to put together some math. And I go, look, in the first quarter, I made 1,000 phone calls, and out of that, I spoke with 500 people. I had 500 conversations about real estate. And when I say a conversation, that means you talk to somebody about buying or selling real estate. This isn't you calling your database and just talking to your friend about gosh knows whatever. This is at somewhere in there, you plugged buying or selling real estate into that conversation. So, you know, at the end of that quarter, you made 500 conversations and you made $5,000, right? So 500 conversations at $5,000, that means you make X amount per every conversation about buying or selling real estate, which you see at the upper top right of the page. I make $92 per contact. In the beginning, you might be brand new and it might be for a long time. And it was for me, 0 per contact, 0. Then it was $5, right? Because I was making so many outbound contacts and I still only sold one house. So it was like 3,000 conversations to one sale. Then it was 7, 9, 15, 20, till the highest that I believe that I ever had it. And I should have my old sheet that I should show in this class, which was $972 for every contact, every conversation I had about buying or selling real estate. So that'll get me out of bed. I'll get hung up on, and I'm cheap, I'll get hung up on for $20 per hang up, right? Or per conversation, not hang up. So I know in that morning, I go, look, I make $20 for every time I have a conversation about real estate. All right, let's go to work, right? So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, boom, man, I'm already at $100 and it's only been a 30 minutes or 45 minutes. As I've said earlier, this is a game for your mind. The better you fall in love and make this more fun, the easier it's going to be. And then you're going to have goals. So one of your other goals or targets should be looking at the tracking sheet and saying, okay, my goal to hit my numbers, and I'll give you easy numbers. People might be asking right now, here's the easiest numbers that you need to have to make net $100,000 in real estate. It's very, very simple. It's 100 conversations a week. If you're new to real estate, that might be new to you. If you're seasoned, you've heard this 1,000 times. That's it. 20 conversations about buying or selling real estate every day. I promise will guarantee you $100,000 in net income in 12 months, period. End of story. We've tested it. We've worked it out. We've tracked tons of team members over time. It's a reality. So it's 100 conversations every week. So 400 a month. So if you go back to your big monthly goals, you saw on there that the conversations or contact goal was 400. If you want to do more than that, great. If you want to make 50 grand, do 50 a week. It'll work out to be the same thing. That's the whole thing. Now, as you see below, you're going to start registering what kind of contacts you're calling. Okay. So you want to know what that is, because again, you could make 100 conversations a week, but you're calling the phone book. Are you going to have the highest conversion rate? Probably not. you'll still convert. And I promise you that you'll still convert. If you called 100 people a week out of the phone book and had a sophisticated script with a purpose, you will still sell. You'll still do really well. I don't know how many you'll sell, depending on how good you are on the phone, but you'll sell quite a bit. So now we start thinking, well, if I could target that energy into groups that I know need my services, like expireds for sell by owners, just listed, just sold, my affiliated business partners, and so on, then those conversations are going to get better and I'm going to have more success. Okay. So then you've got at the bottom there your total contacts made, and then you're tracking your Mets and your haven't Mets. Always remembering that those two are your way to net $1 million in real estate, not make, but net. All I need to do is have 500 people that love me, that would refer me business, that would do a deal with me in my database. And all I need is to have 4,000 people that I market to on a regular basis to try to get into my net database. And boom, I'm a net millionaire. Net millionaire, which is a big difference between just making $1 million. Okay.
So Brendan, with these numbers at the bottom in the Mets and haven't Mets, I can take that general formula and work backwards. Let's say I want to net $500,000 this year. I would just half those numbers, right?
That's exactly right. Yep. So 250 and 2,000 is very simple that way. You can strip it all the way back to just 100 grand. And again, believe me, I've coached people that have that make $500,000. They're always right around 230 to 270 in their Mets, and they're right around about X amount in their haven'ts, 2,000. Some of them are a little bit less than that. Your scale might vary. You might, so think about this. You could have 8,000 in your haven't Mets and almost barely any in your Mets. That's called being very transactional. So you're spending all your money on just new people, eating them through, burning them up, closing a deal and spitting them out. You can still have success that way. It's a lot more expensive because the cost of a haven't Met is much more expensive to obtain than it is to keep a Met happy. So remember.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to jump in and also ask, once you've kind of explained this, will you go back to the math? Let's say I know my calls for this last week, on average, how many I'm doing a day. How do I get my dollar per contact? What's the math behind that?
Sure. So dollar per contact, simple as easy numbers that I can say is if you made well, let's just stay to the numbers. If you made 400 contacts a month, in the first quarter, you made 1,200 contacts. Let's say that you sold one house, and from that house, you made $10,000, right? So you're going to take 10,000 divided by 1,200 contacts, and you make $8.33 per contact. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the numbers on the sheet are based upon netting about $1 million a year.
These
right?
What, at the bottom, you mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We're talking two different things now. So to make 100 grand, you need to have 100 contacts per week, period, end of story. To net $1 million, we're talking about out of those contacts. So to make a Met means that I've built a relationship. So let's say on a daily basis, I'm doing 20 conversations. Out of those 20 conversations, I might talk to one person that day that I think that loves me enough that would either do future business for me, what we maybe would call a lead, that would maybe do future business with me, refer me business, and that I'd be willing to spend $33 a year marketing to. So at the end of my 20 conversations, I might capture one person that I feel that good about. Certain days I might not have any. My goal was to capture 2 Mets a week, right? So over the year, I could build up to 100. 2 that I truly believe would do business with me, refer me business, and that I would spend $33 a year on. Now, I still have to do 100 contacts. Think how crazy that is. I have to have 100 conversations to find those 2. But that's not really a bad ratio if you're really looking at it, right? If I'm, hey, 4 years or 5 years, I'm going to net $1 million. I don't know many other industries that you can do that, where you can literally say from 0 to 4.5 to 5 years, I will be a net millionaire. Tell me another profession, because I'm not aware, with no student debt. I mean, except for your $800 that you spend on real estate school. Give me a break. That's the beauty of this industry, where somebody like me with a GED and a pretty face can go the distance on having this type of lifestyle and career. That's all it takes, but it's a formula. It's a KFC recipe. It's the It's the recipe that gets you there. People just don't want to believe in it. And what'll happen is you'll do this for 2 months. You'll be like, man, I did what Brendan said for 2 months and I only did X. You got to give it a little bit more time, and your skills aren't where they needed to be. You could make 1,000 phone calls a week, and if you sound like a goofball, it's not going to matter. I'm not going to want to do business with you. You could make 1,000 phone calls a week, go on an appointment and smell like a trash bag. I'm not going to sign with you. So there's a lot of variable factors that go into that, but this will get you the baseline of getting you to where you want to go. So we good? All right. So track your numbers, fall in love with how much you make per contact so you're motivated to embrace that level of suck every day. And you go, haha, joke's on you, Mr. Jerkoff who just hung up on me. Every time you hang up on me, I'm closer to making another $92, or I've just made another $92. All right, so now 7:45 to 10:45 a.m., you're fine. So all of that, we're ready to get on the phone and start doing our lead gen. So here's some lead sources that I like to discuss. So I have about 30 lead sources total that I live and die by, and that our organization lives and dies by. I tried to break these into the 10 most effective. And then next week, we're teaching a class called How to Find, List, and Sell 100 Homes Every Year. I go into each one of these in detail to tell you how to do it, the scripts, the dialogues, where to find them, the strategies, the failures, the successes I've had. But for simple time's sake, here's the list, and they're in order of the most important. So they're in order of the most important, just like this. And it always starts with expireds, because expireds, we know they already want to sell and they already want to use a realtor. There was just something that went wrong, period. For sell by owners, we know that they want to sell. They just haven't decided on what agent they want to use yet, or if they want to use an agent, and that's our job to show them that value. Right now, the biggest bucket that we're crushing, FRBOs, for rent by owners, these are landlords. These are people that right now, I was just watching the news last night, and this lady went off on how it's not fair that her tenants aren't paying her, yet she still has to pay her mortgage, right? So her tenants aren't paying her, but she still has to pay for her properties, and she's having all of these issues and utilities and all of these things. Landlords right now are going, I'm over it. This is not worth it. I don't care anymore. I'd rather just sell this darn thing and put the money in the mattress. So get a hold of for rent by owners immediately and have success. Just sold, we just sold a property in your neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. Just listed, we're listing a home in your neighborhood this weekend. There's a script for that. The NED pre-foreclosure, now this one will move up in significance depending upon the economy and things of that nature. But again, people that are 90 days past due on their mortgage payment, call them up and say, hey, do you have a backup plan if unfortunately you're not able to get your mortgage correct? No? Great, let me come over and save your equity before you need to go into foreclosure, before you foreclose on your house. Not the most fun script. We used to do it a ton all the time. We don't do it that much anymore because there's not that much need because the economy's been so good. It will change. So center of influence makes sense. Past clients, affiliated business partners. So this would be your barber, your candlestick maker, your whatever it is, you're having conversations. There's a script for that. And then number 10, internet lead sources. So if you're buying internet leads or you're producing your own, which I hope you're doing, so you're not getting them secondhand and spending all that money, internet lead sources. So those are what you're doing in that first 7:45 until 10:45 session. The better you are at each one of these, the substantial amount of more money you will make. Period, end of story. In that order. That's the most important. So fall in love with them, learn the scripts. And now what I would say is take away from this class and go, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do all of them. Take one that you're going to dial in and master over the next 90 days. And when I mean master, you go, you know what? I am going to be the just sold master. I'm going to take my leverage of my office, and since they sell a lot of homes, I'm going to call neighborhoods and I'm going to use this just sold script, and I'm going to dominate it, and I'm going to be the best at it, and I'm going to send them really cool note cards after I'm done. Just figure out the one thing and then add on to it, right? You don't have to be good at all 10 of these. Get really good at one. Then once you've got that down, be like, all right, now I'm going to add on for rent by owners. I'm going to add that to my arsenal or my toolbox, right? Don't try to be a jack of all trades right out of the gate. You're going to get destroyed. All right. Woo. Your morning was exhausting. You've been embracing the suck all morning long. Now it's time to take a break. Get your mind right. Go outside. Pet your dog. Hug a kid. Whatever it is that you want to do, not when you're at work, When we go back to work, go and, have some water, do whatever it is, check your ESPN, your Tinder, whatever you're into, take a break, enjoy, relax, swipe right. And then now it's 11 o'clock, come back and you're ready to rock and roll, okay? So from 11 to 12, lead follow up, and we're updating our database. So we're feeding our CRM, we're getting everything in there, making sure every workflow, text campaign, email campaign, market report, direct mail process, that we built this beautiful machine that we call our CRM database is perfect. There's no point of making outbound calls if you're going to not put them into anything and nurture them long term. Remember, 20 conversations, I might have 1 or 2 people that are worth putting into my database, maybe even 1, some days 0. And that's just how it is. I need to make sure when I put them in there, I'm having a sophisticated plan for them to have success when I get, because I just, again, I want to build great relationships with people where they're in turn, they reciprocate and I get to make money because of it. That's real estate. Okay. So get your lead follow up. All right. Here's the image of this, right? If you're not doing any type of CRM or anything like that, then you're basically panning with a little gold pan, right? You're out there in your New Balances in a river with a pan trying to scrape up, one little scraping of gold. Your CRM is a massive mine. It's this dump truck that you're pouring all of this dirt into. You have, and instead of having to have all these workers digging it up, you're putting it into this machine. And then when it filters it all the way out, you're getting gold nuggets. Your CRM is a gold nugget producing machine. Then I hear it all the time. Well, Brennan, it's so hard and it doesn't work and it's very cumbersome and blah, 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 blah. Are you kidding me? You could work in a mine shoveling dirt. All you have to do is type for 5 minutes and put people into a CRM and click some buttons. Cry me a river. If that's your biggest complaint of the day, is I have to use a clunky CRM, get over it. That's where the money is. The people that are the best data nurturers and database managers make the most money. End of story. Okay? So get your dirt, get it in there, get it processed. All right. Now you're already at 12 o'clock. Beautiful morning. You had the most fun of your life. Now it's time for role play again. You're going to take another half hour to talk about what went right, what went wrong. If you're at our office, we have it live every day. We have a Zoom call every single day of the week from 12 to 12:30 with live role play. If you don't have that, set it up at your office. If you don't have an office, set it up with somebody else. Get a role play partner and say, every day I want to do a half hour of role play to get my skills sharp, because on this call session or this lead generation session, here's what somebody said to me and I didn't know what to say. So what do you think I should have done, right? This could also be from 12 to 12:30. Watch YouTube videos about people that are role playing at a high level. I learned probably more than anything on earth from top producers around the country that were doing scripts at an extremely high level. So make sure you're looking at that, right? So doing all that, I have a package, so be very focused on the process of getting your skills sharp. One of the things I would do on that daily tracking sheet that you saw is on the back of it, anytime I got stuck with an objection that I wasn't sure about, I would write that objection on the back and then practice it during role play, okay? So you've got to get your skills at the highest level possible. Now, we also have a YouTube channel with our scripts, our dialogues. It's under Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching on YouTube. Check it out. Leave me some feedback. Drop a comment. Let me know what you thought about the scripts. We're adding more of them every single day, every single week. But again, you can play these in your car, listen to them. I used to have an old school Mike Ferry, Mike Ferry, who's Tom Ferry's dad. When I was in his program, I had CDs, right? Because those were still the way to go. And I would have his script book playing in my car on my CD player every single day until it brainwashed me with every script and objection handler on earth. That's, people go, boy, man, you sound so smooth when you're on the phone or when you're teaching this or all that. It's not because I was born this way. It was because I brainwashed myself every day and it sucked. Do you not think I'd rather be listening to whatever, anything else on earth than some old dude read scripts? No, I didn't want to do that. It was brutally painful, but it made me a better agent. It made me a better sales professional. So do what others won't to have what others want. I think about that all the time. Do what others won't to have what others want. Okay? So you got to practice. You did a good job. Now you get to eat some lunch. So take an hour, a half hour if you eat faster and you don't need the full time. Walk outside, get some fresh air, get your mind right. You just went to war that morning, and now you need to take some time for yourself, get that break, get out of there and get refueled for the afternoon. All right. So this is a very important piece. You hear people go all the time, I work through lunch. I don't even need lunch. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. If you say that, then it means you didn't have a strong enough morning. I can be very honest with you. If you didn't go all out in the morning, then you don't really need to fuel back up. But if you go all out in the morning, you need to fuel back up. All right. Then from 1:30 to 7, you're embracing the suck in the form of you're on appointments, right? Because remember, you never schedule an appointment before noon, not an inspection, a dentist appointment, anything else. So all appointments are in the afternoon. Listing appointments would be preferable, right? But again, buyer appointments until you can become a team leader and then have people do your buyer appointments for you, right? That would be the next thing, because some people love doing buyer appointments and some people don't. But appointments are left in the afternoon, period, end of story. Now, if you're new and you weren't able to set an appointment, you continue to lead gen. And then we've been talking about some outbound calling lead gen, but I'm going to show you some other techniques that have nothing to do with calling. So all of you that hate making phone calls, hang in there with me. We've got a lot of things you can be doing as well, instead of just dialing and smiling, which is the way that's going to make you the most money, but we'll show you some other opportunities. Okay. So speaking of one of those is the Facebook 26. All right. So Facebook 26 is a very simple process where there's 26 letters in the alphabet, and every day on your social media, it could be Facebook, it could be LinkedIn, which LinkedIn is a powerhouse right now. It could be Instagram. You're going to go through, and if today is the 21st, you're going to go into your Instagram, your Facebook, and everybody with either the first initial U or the last name's first name starts with U. You can do it however you want, that are in Colorado, or somebody that you're making a connection with. Now, if you go into your Facebook and like me, I have, I don't know, 600 people with the letter U, I'm not going to go through that. You can search to people that are in Denver or local or wherever you're at, Castle Rock, the Front Range. You can geo-target your Facebook. If you don't know how to do this, Google it. There's a YouTube video on it. And you can search to find these specific people right in your Facebook. And then you can look through those names and you go, don't know him, don't know her, don't know him. Kind of remember meeting that guy at a barbecue. All right, so let me check in with him or her real quick. And I'm just going to shoot them a quick message through Facebook. All right, I'm going to go on Messenger and say, hey, John, Uganda, how's it going with your, how are you dealing with the whole Corona thing? I couldn't think of another U last name. Sorry. Right. Does Uganda start with a U? It does, right? I hope so. Yeah. So again, GED, that's not my fault. But so every day I'm sending out those messages and I'm just touching, touch. The next day, next letter, touch. Eventually they're going to respond. I'm not telling them, hey, and I'm not being all salesy and being like, hey, John, was curious if you want to buy a house. That's not the message. It has to come from a place of care. And COVID is a great time to check in on people because you do care about them. So, hey, how's it going? How are you guys dealing with everything? Blah, 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 blah. Now, you could message him. You could comment on one of his posts if he made a recent post. You could like something that he did. All of that stuff is just to ding him in the mind going, oh man, Brendan, I haven't thought about him in a while. Oh, wow, I wonder if he's still selling real estate. And that, you know what, now I thought about it. Yeah, man, we actually do need to sell when we get done with this COVID thing. I should probably give him a call. That's how it's going to happen, right? So what this is called is a strategy. That's all this is. That's all you need is a strategy. Every single day where you're doing the consistent activities, I'm taking down the elephant bite by bite, not like just trying to kill this thing in one, or take it down in one big swing. It's little bites that are going to lead to the entire process. This is a strategy for you to do it, especially if you have phone anxiety. Now, remember, at some point, you got to make phone calls, right? You start having a good conversation with John Uganda, then you're going to need to talk to him and call him at some point. So in my messaging, as it gets further down the path, it'll be like, John, hey man, completely understand. Yeah. And I know you want to maybe think about putting your home on the market. I have some availability this week, tomorrow at 4 or Thursday at 2. What works better for us to jump on the phone and talk about all this? Question mark. Cool, Brendan, give me a call tomorrow at 4 o'clock. That's it. So this is powerful. Where this is extremely powerful right now is LinkedIn. Guys and gals, think about how many people are either getting a new job because their old job let them go, or don't have a job and need to do something with their house. What website are they going to be going to? LinkedIn. You all are correct. Yes, LinkedIn. So all those connections on LinkedIn, you can do this same Facebook 26, just call it LinkedIn 26, and you're going to check in with everybody to see. Again, I just had a client that got a new job as the head of IT for Amazon in Indiana, right? So moving to Indiana, it has to be there in 45 days. Completely fantastic. The reason I knew about that, because he was excited and he posted on LinkedIn and updated his thing that he just secured the new IT position for Amazon. You see what we're doing here? We're just being strategic in our process instead of just every day trying to just luck our way through it. Luck is not a strategy, all right? So Facebook 26, LinkedIn 26, Twitter 26, I don't know if that'll work, but you can try it. Instagram 26, whatever it is, get in contact with the people in your network. Now, the other piece of this too is after your lead generation sessions, are you connecting with them on social? Right? So if you made it a call to an expired, are you connecting with them and trying to connect with them on social? That's huge. The more I can stay in front of somebody, the better off I'm going to be. Now, that only is if you've purged your social and you don't look like a psychopath on your social, or that whatever. Make sure you have somebody else audit your social so you look like a professional before you start connecting with the public world. Okay. Another pro tip, the 10-25-90. Okay. So you saw on our calendar at the beginning, there was a section there for 2 hours every week from 5 to 7 where I'm going to focus on my 10-25-90. So the 10th of every month is a client giveaway. Okay. So I teach an entire another class all about the 10-25-90, which we're going to go in extreme detail about the scripts, the dialogues, what to give away, how it should work. But again, the giveaway is a way to touch your database and have them reach out to you instead of you having to make so many outbound calls. The 25th, you're going to spotlight somebody in your network with a business spotlight, okay? This could be you doing a phone interview with them and putting it public. This could be you doing a video. This could be you spotlighting somebody in the beginning until you get video and all that up and running, or if you're scared about doing video, which you need to get over, you could just easily do a spotlight of a local company on your social and go, look, so-and-so is amazing. If you're looking for a mechanic, you should definitely reach out to John at Quickie Mechanics because John is an absolute star. How good is that going to make John feel? It'd make me feel pretty darn good, right? And then you at John, and he's going to share that on his, or it'll show up on his social, and you look like a star. And then John goes, man, if I ever get a referral, it's going to Brendan, right? Man, I can't believe he gave me that shout out. What an awesome guy, right? So you can do it at a high level. I'm going to teach you how to do it where it's a full on, we're doing a video production, we're logoing it, we're blasting it on YouTube, we're leveraging it in all of our social media. And so we can do that. But remember, business spotlight, hook somebody up and don't ask for the return hookup, just hook them up and in return, they'll hook you up, okay? And then every 90 days, a client appreciation event. Right? That's a little tricky right now, but you can still, I'm going to talk about all kinds of ways how you can do that in a COVID environment, how you can do it in a non-COVID environment, and have a successful client appreciation event. So 10, 25, 90 is extremely powerful.
Hey, Brendan.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give a couple of examples? Like, what have you done in the past as a client giveaway? And do you have a particular budget for this kind of stuff? Or is it just kind of, can you walk us through those steps a little bit?
That's a great question. So we've done everything from a Yeti cooler to a Dyson vacuum to a gift card to Whole Foods to a mixer, whatever those, I don't cook, but the mixer, the really
The
nice
stand
ones.
mixer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that whatever it is. So the goal for this is the budget should be whatever you're willing or able to afford. So I can just tell you from this last one, we just did a $250 gift card for Whole Foods. We put that out to the public and said, use it for yourself or donate it to somebody in need right now. We had 99 people call in. We got 10 referrals from those call-ins, and there's a script that I'll do in a different class on what that looks like. And then the nice part is after they win, right? We mail the card to them right now because of COVID. Normally when they win, they would come in and take the prize. Like the Yeti cooler was great. They came in the big white Yeti cooler. We put a sticker of our logo on the Yeti cooler. So again, we also have more marketing going off of that. They come in, they win the cooler, take a picture with you in front of your office or in your office in front of your logo or some other logo or a TV or whatever it is. Then you post that and you post that on your social again. So it's another touch. It's you being awesome in the community, showing people that they actually win. They share it on theirs because people love when they win stuff. And they're like, hey, look at this. I won a cooler today. So cool. Right? And it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes. But again, tune in for the 10, 25, 90 class where I'll teach you all of the ins and outs of what we've learned from doing it for over the years that makes it that much better. Excellent. Okay. So now, real estate is personal. Your database and relationships are the core of your business. This goes back to putting a 2-hour time block. So remember, you've got 10, 25, 90, 2 hours a week, right? And I put 5 to 7. Now, if you have kids and you have a life and all of that, don't do it at night. That's fine. Put yours in from 2 to 4 on a Thursday. You just make sure that you're not going to be able to go on an appointment during that time. That's totally fine, right? I showed you the absolute maximum schedule that a person could live with, right? And people do live that schedule. It just seems weird to you, right? And then then another 2-hour session for your client for life system. So this is your mailers, your direct mail, your handwritten note cards. This is making sure that the database, you're working on your text workflows, your messages, everything that once you get them into your spider web, they never leave your spider web ever again. Okay. We teach another class on this in detail called Market Your Way to Millions that breaks down every single step of our process, what we mail, our sample mailers, our themes, you know, the cute stuff that we send, all of those things is in another class. But again, just think about 2 hours a week. I need to be working on my system. Remember the big dump truck in the mine? I need to make sure that that mine is the best producing mine on earth. Okay. So that's a big piece of it there. All right. So looking at this, right? The last part of embracing the suck, not the last part, there's one other piece here I'll show you in a second, is you've got to be relentless. You know, I talk about this part on every single slide or webinar that we do, or not every single slide, but every class that we teach. The best salespeople are just assuring choices someone was going to make anyway. And I think the hardest thing, and this comes from affirmations and practice that we get into our heads about as sales professionals, is that we're feeling pushy, or that I feel like a scumbag because I'm calling about business, or I feel this type of way. I always give this analogy. You always walk in, so you're at the mall, you know you need to go get a pair of jeans. You walk into the store, and the first thing that the lady asks you is, can I help you? And the first thing you say is what? No, I'm good, right? You're good, just browsing. And you know you came to the store to get jeans, but your natural instinct is to be like, yeah, no, I'm all set. Now, the thing that separates a top producing salesperson from that lady going, oh, okay, and then she goes back to doing whatever, is, oh, well, great, I completely understand. So what brings you in? Right? That transition right there for that script, oh, okay, I completely understand. You're just looking, well, what brings you in then? Right? That could double that salesperson's sales versus just being like, okay, put my head down and go back to shuffling clothes or whatever it is. That's the difference with scripts, practice, technology, all of these things is they're going to buy anyway. Are you going to have them buy at your store or somebody else's store? That's it. They're going to buy at your store or somebody else's store. But right now, if you get into your head about this COVID-19 thing and you get all gloom and doom, we're selling houses every day. We're taking listings every day. We're having closings every single day. Our team closed, I think, 32 homes this month during COVID-19, right? So You can get out of your head of saying it's not going to happen. You just got to change the lifestyle to make it happen. And whether you're willing to do that or not is up to you. That's going to be the big difference there. So you only get one shot at this, right? And I have that Eminem song playing in my head all the freaking time. The dun, 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 right? We used to have music for the slides, but it screws up the Zoom call, so we're not doing it now. But just think of the Eminem. If you don't know who Eminem is, look him up and listen to You Only Get One Shot. But you only have that one shot in your mind where you have a chance to get this done. Think about that every morning. Don't get so worried about all this other stuff. You got one shot today to set one appointment. If you set 5 appointments a week, does your life significantly change? The answer is yes. So you wake up that morning, if it's not you you're going to get that appointment, somebody else is getting it. I guarantee you it's going to happen anyway. It might as well be you, but it's not going to be you if you don't embrace the suck. That's the big piece. You got to embrace this. So now, out of everything for everyone, and thank you for everyone that attended. I know this is one of those subjects where you're like, oh, I don't really want to hear it, but I kind of need to hear it because I don't want to do this and I want to live in my fluffy life. What's one thing you're going to leave with and implement today, right? What's one thing, even if you want to share it in the chat box, I'd love to see it. What's one single thing that you're going to walk away from this class with today? And it could be something as small as I'm going to wake up 15 minutes earlier. It could be something as small as I'm going to wake up before 10 o'clock. So we know you already did that today. Good job. It could be something as big as I'm going to dial in my numbers and fall in love with my spreadsheets or my tracking. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to dedicate a half hour a day to role play. It could be something as simple as that. It could be figuring out how to use for the first time your Outlook calendar. And don't be embarrassed. You're sitting there right now. I know there's people sitting out there and I make jokes about it. I know you're not using your calendar. Just learn how to do it. Learn how to time block. It's not fun, but it'll help you, right? So learn those types of things. I'm going to learn how to master my CRM. Maybe that's what your goal is, right? To really improve this process. So what's one thing you're going to implement today? Anna, did we have any? I can't read the comments, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, we've got them all coming in. It looks like a lot of folks are going to try and implement the Facebook 26 along with the 10-25-90.
Excellent.
A lot of people are committing to no appointments before noon and making sure, yeah, and then also making sure that their calendar is organized so they can start with a morning routine.
That's awesome. Yeah, those will make huge differences. Guys, if you have more questions about this stuff, we have, again, our coaching page where we do all of this fun stuff. We have elite coaching. We have more webinars, scripts, our listing presentation classes, all of that stuff. Would love to get your feedback. Would love a positive review. If you hate it, what you heard today, that's fine too. Let us know, I guess, but that would actually, don't do that. No, just kidding. Whatever you feel, leave us a review. We appreciate it. We put a lot of energy and time to trying to deliver the best content to you guys so you can go out and have successful careers. So the more we know on what you need, the better off we can adjust. So, and then lastly, next week, as we said, how to find, list, and sell 100 homes each and every year. So it's a 3-part series. It's going to be an hour each day. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you can't make all 3, no worries. If you can make 1 out of the 3, great. If you can't make any of them, tell somebody else about it. But we're going to break down exactly what that process looks like. The one that I get a lot of questions about is that sell. What do you do to get your home sold, Brendan? And why do we get them sold so quickly and so on and so forth? So that's a big one. All my lead buckets is going to be in how to find them and then how to list them, the perfect presentation, what you need to be an amazing listing presenter, how to list them, and all of that fun stuff. So join us for that. And then lastly, push harder than yesterday if you want a different tomorrow. This is going to take work. This is going to take a little time. It's going to take a lot of learning, but it's baby steps. It's adding on every day, a little step by a little step by a little step, until eventually you'll look back and you'll be like, was I even doing that ever before? So I appreciate all of you guys. I'll open it up to Q&A if there's any questions. And as always, I wish each of you great success.
Thanks, Brendan. Hey, we do have a couple of questions I want to circle back around on. One of the questions was, can you give a little bit of insight into how you structure role play if someone wanted to implement it?
Yeah. No, this is a beautiful question. So role play is very simple. If you're doing it in a group setting, then you should theme every day for a certain theme. So Mondays are more appointment Mondays. Everything about what it takes to set an appointment is on Mondays. Tuesdays, we do technical Tuesdays. So this is the contract. What is title insurance? Do you know how to explain what a boiler is? Can you explain the inspection objections? Can you do all this? So more technical themed type activities. So you can break down every single day into a theme, right? Whatever you want. Thursdays, we do a game show where it's throw down Thursdays. It's all about objections. We focus just specifically, everyone, there's only about 40 objections that you're ever going to hear in the course of your life. 40. I've tested this. Any way you shovel it, there's only about 40. If you master those 40, you're going to be untouchable, right? So you just have to figure out, okay, how am I going to memorize 5 a month, right? Until I get really good at these 5 or whatever it is. So yeah. And then the second thing with role play is stay on the script. You're not good enough yet to freestyle. Now you got to find a script that you know, kind of resonates with you. But I used to use a script all the time that didn't sound anything like me. And it was a Mike Ferry script at the time. And it ended everything. The script always ended in, if you get what you want in the time you want, won't that be great? And I hated saying that so much. I thought it sounded so cheesy, but it worked. And I sold a bunch of houses. And then I wrote my own script after I felt comfortable enough that still had the same premise, just sounded a little bit more natural to me. And then the third thing with role play is always end in success. So if you have a role play partner, don't role play and then stump them. Lead to success. Get past it, because you're training your brain that every conversation you have, whether role play, you know, again, if I'm practicing to shoot a game-winning three-point shot, I don't practice that shot thinking I'm going to miss it. I want to think about it going in the hoop. So same thing with role play. Make sure when you shoot that shot, you know, at the end, it goes in the hoop. So you're training your brain to believe it's going to happen. What else?
The other question that came up was, I'm getting ready for a listing presentation and I spend a couple of hours putting together my CMAs. Where do I build that into the schedule?
Yes. So this is a very simple piece too that we talk about in List Like a Boss, which is the market analysis. So with the market analysis, right, you're going to have to build that time into either the appointment time. So when I say an appointment, right, so let's say that I set a listing appointment for today at 4 o'clock. I know to be prepared for that appointment in the afternoon, there might be a half hour of appointment prep time. So it's not just a 1 hour appointment. It's okay, I've got to do the CMA. I've got to get the listing presentation printed. I've got to get my contracts done. Eventually you'll have leverage where that doesn't happen, because you'll have a paid assistant that does all of these things for you that you know, makes it perfect. So basically I'm sending an email going, I need this, this, and this by 4 o'clock today. I get a whole package and then I'm gone. You know, at the peak, I was doing 7 to 10 listing appointments per week, right? So 7 to 10 per week. So if you're averaging 2 a day, the only way you can do that is with leverage and you have somebody else doing it. I never do my own CMAs. I haven't done a personal CMA in 10 years. People always go, how can you trust your assistant or executive assistant or listing manager to do your CMAs? You can. They do them all the time. A CMA is just an estimation of price using basic comparables, you know, actives under contracts and sold, based upon statistical information to gauge when I go to that homeowner's house what they want to sell the home for and what I'm willing to do as a business person to allow that I think will get done in a time frame that makes sense. What are the 2 things that sell houses? I talk about this all the time. It's not a CMA. It's not you. It's not your skill set. It's time and price. So I'm bidding on there when I go into the listing appointment and I say, great. So John, it's really wonderful. What would you like to list the home for it to sell in the next 30 days? XYZ number. Or they go, I don't know any number at all. Well, what do you think? That's why you're here, jerk off. I'm like, oh, thank you. So you're that kind of personality. Wonderful. Well, Dan, the answer to that question is the market right now is telling us that based on the last 6 that closed, the average price per square foot is this or X, or the highest one that closed was this. Based on your property and everything that goes into that, the market would tell us that you should be at 500,000. 500,000, I'm never going to list at 500,000. Oh my God. Okay, then what number would you like to list that? Because we already know they have a number in their head. They just don't want to tell you, right? And again, you don't say, I think this number, you tell them the market's saying this number. Okay, so tell me how you got to 575 when the highest priced home ever in your neighborhood ever closed at 500. Well, they don't understand. I've got this new, floors that we put in. Great. So floors are 5 grand. You want to go up 75 grand. I'm on your side, Joan. Just tell me how to get there. So we cover that in how to list. So how to find how to list. But yes, we go through all of those details on that process. So yeah, you're gonna have to build that appointment time into the actual appointment time in the afternoon. That's why your morning is so valuable. For some of you, it might take you 3 hours to get ready for one listing appointment. That's okay. It doesn't matter because you did everything right in the morning, and all you need to do is go take one listing appointment every day, 5 days a week, and you'll make stupid money. Anything else, Anna?
Nope, those were the few that came in. And just as a reminder, folks, we are recording this class and we have a ton of resources we're going to send out to you afterwards. So anything you're looking for, email us at info@brendanbardick.com. I've gone ahead and put that email address in the chat box as well. Anything you're looking for, we're happy to help deliver it to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate the participation. And as always, I wish each of you great success. Thanks so much.
Have a great one, everyone.